The morning sun hadn't even thought about rising yet when Linda Mitchell felt the cold floor beneath her feet. 4:30 in the morning and she was already awake. Not because she wanted to be, but because sleep had become a luxury she couldn't afford anymore. Her mind was too busy counting dollars, calculating rent, figuring out how to make $12 stretch until Friday. She moved quietly through the tiny apartment, careful not to wake her 3 kids. Bobby was 7. The twins Katie and David had just turned 5 last month. They'd celebrated with box cake and dollar store candles. The kids didn't complain. They never did. Sometimes Linda wished they would. It might make things easier somehow. The bathroom mirror showed a woman who looked older than her 32 years. Dark circles under her eyes told the story of too many sleepless nights. Too many shifts. Too many worries. She splashed cold water on her face and tried to remember the girl she used to be, the one who laughed easily, the one who believed everything would work out fine. That was before Michael died. 18 months had passed since the accident at the construction site. 18 months of learning how to be both mother and father. 18 months of bills that never stopped coming. Medical bills from his final week in the hospital, funeral costs, rent, groceries, electric, water. The list went on and on, each item another weight pressing down on her shoulders. Linda worked as a cleaner for an office building downtown, 7 miles from her apartment. The pay wasn't great, $9 an hour, but it was steady. And right now steady was everything. She couldn't risk losing this job. Couldn't risk being even 5 minutes late. Her boss, Mr. Henderson, was a decent man, but he ran a business. He'd made it clear that punctuality mattered. She pulled on her work clothes. The same black pants and blue polo shirt she wore every day. Washed them every night in the sink, hung them to dry, wore them again the next morning. Then came the shoes, or what was left of them. The sneakers had seen better days, much better days. She'd bought them at a thrift store 8 months ago for $3. They'd been worn then, but now they were barely holding together. The soles had separated from the fabric. Duct tape kept them somewhat functional, but as she slipped her right foot in, she felt it immediately. The tape had given up. The sole flopped loose, completely detached. Linda sat on the edge of her bed and stared at the ruined shoe. She wanted to cry, wanted to scream, wanted to throw something, but she just sat there holding a broken sneaker, wondering how something so small could feel so massive. She had $43 in her purse, $43 until payday on Friday, 3 days away. Rent was due tomorrow. She'd managed to scrape together $425. Her landlord wanted $450. She'd been planning to ask for a few more days for that last $25. Now she needed money for shoes, too. The math was simple and cruel. She couldn't buy shoes and pay rent. She couldn't skip work to figure this out. She couldn't call in sick because she had no sick days left. She'd used them all when David had the flu last month. Linda looked at the clock. 5:15. The bus came at 6. It was a 15-minute walk to the bus stop. She had 45 minutes to decide what to do. She thought about her other shoes, the nice black flats she wore to Michael's funeral, but one of the heels had broken off months ago. There were the twins' old rain boots in the closet, but they were size 2. Bobby's sneakers were too small. Michael's work boots were still in the back of the closet. She'd kept them, unable to let go of one more piece of him. She pulled out the heavy boots, size 11 men's. Her feet were size 7 women's. She tried to put them on anyway, stuffing the toes with newspaper. They were impossibly huge. She took 3 steps and nearly twisted her ankle. These wouldn't work. She'd fall and hurt herself before making it a block. The clock ticked forward. 5:30, 5:35, 5:40. Linda made her decision. She'd walk barefoot. 7 miles. She'd walked it before when the bus broke down. She knew the route. Stay on the main road until 3rd Street. Cut through the industrial park, then straight to the office complex. If she left now, she could make it by 7:30. Her shift started at 7. She'd be 30 minutes late. But Mr. Henderson would understand. He had to understand. She grabbed her broken shoes anyway. Maybe she could tape them better at work. She filled her water bottle, grabbed the peanut butter sandwich she'd made the night before, and wrote a quick note for Bobby. He knew the morning routine. Get the twins breakfast, cereal with water since the milk had run out yesterday. Lock the door. Take them to Mrs. Chen next door. She watched them until Linda got home at 4. The morning air hit her as she stepped outside. October in their town meant cold mornings. The concrete sidewalk felt like ice under her bare feet. Linda took a breath and started walking. The first mile wasn't so bad. The sidewalk was smooth. Her feet were still tough from summer when the kids ran around outside. She kept a steady pace, one foot in front of the other. Don't think about it. Just walk. By mile 2, she could feel every pebble, every crack in the pavement. The rough concrete scraped her soles. She tried walking on the grass beside the sidewalk when she could, but that brought its own problems. Sticks, rocks, something sharp that made her yelp. Mile 3 was when her feet started to hurt, really hurt. She looked down and saw dirt coating her skin. A small cut on her heel. She kept walking. What choice did she have? Turn back, show up even later, lose the job entirely? Cars passed her. Some slowed down, drivers staring with confused expressions. A woman in an SUV rolled down her window and asked if she needed help. Linda smiled and said no thank you. She was fine. The woman drove away slowly, looking back twice in her rearview mirror. Linda's feet left small spots on the sidewalk now. She tried not to look, tried not to think about how much they hurt. Instead, she thought about her kids. Bobby's gap-toothed smile, Katie's laugh, David's serious little face when he concentrated on his homework. She thought about the $43 in her purse, about getting through today and tomorrow and the day after that. The sun was rising now, painting the sky pink and orange. It would have been beautiful if Linda's feet didn't feel like they were on fire. 4 miles down. 3 to go. She shifted her broken shoes from one hand to the other and kept walking, one foot in front of the other. That's all she could do. That's all any of them could do. Just keep moving forward, even when the road ahead looked impossible. Especially then. Robert Hayes had been driving the same route to his morning coffee for 12 years. Every single day, rain or shine, he made the trip from his house on Maple Street to Dot's Diner on Route 9. At 68 years old, routine was what kept him going. Wake up at 5:30, shower, get dressed. Drive to Dot's. Order 2 eggs over easy, bacon crispy, wheat toast, and black coffee. He'd been making this drive since he retired from the Army, since his wife passed, since his daughter moved to Oregon with the grandkids he hardly ever saw. The drive gave him purpose. Something to do. Somewhere to be. This particular Tuesday morning started like any other. The sun was climbing higher now, almost 7 o'clock. Robert's old pickup truck hummed along Route 9, classic rock playing low on the radio. He wasn't really paying attention to the music. Wasn't really paying attention to much of anything until he saw her. At first he thought his eyes were playing tricks on him. A woman walking along the shoulder of the road. Nothing unusual about that, except something was wrong. She was limping, moving slow, and as he got closer, Robert realized why. She wasn't wearing any shoes. He slowed his truck down, squinting through the morning light. No, he wasn't seeing things. This woman was definitely barefoot, walking along a highway carrying what looked like a pair of broken shoes in one hand and a lunch bag in the other. Her feet were dirty, and unless he was mistaken, there were dark spots on the pavement behind her. Robert pulled his truck over onto the shoulder about 50 feet ahead of her. He put on his hazards and got out, waiting as she approached. As she got closer, he could see her face better. Young, tired, determined. And her feet, Lord help him, her feet were cut up and bleeding, ma'am. He called out, trying not to startle her. You all right there? Linda looked up, and for a second Robert saw fear flash across her face. Then she seemed to force a smile. I'm fine, thank you. Just heading to work. Without shoes? Robert gestured at her feet. She looked down like she'd forgotten. They broke. I'll be fine. Robert had seen a lot in his years in the Army. He'd seen people push through pain that would drop most folks. He recognized that look in her eyes. The one that said giving up wasn't an option because too many people were counting on her. Look, I'm heading into town anyway. Let me give you a ride. Those feet need some attention. I appreciate it, but I can't. I'm already late for work. I can't afford to lose this job. You'll get there faster if I drive you. Linda hesitated. Robert could see her thinking it through, weighing her options. Finally, she shook her head. Thank you, really. But I don't know you, and I need to walk. I'll be fine. Robert understood. A woman alone, stranger offering a ride. Made sense she'd be cautious. I get it, he said. But hold on a second. He went back to his truck and opened the extended cab. He kept a pair of old work boots back there. left over from his days doing volunteer work at the Veterans Center. He pulled them out. "Here," he said, walking back to her. "Take these. They're probably too big, but they're better than nothing." Linda looked at the boots like they were made of gold. Then she looked at her feet, then back at the boots. "I can't take your shoes. They're just sitting in my truck collecting dust. I'm not using them. You are. Please." She took them from him, sat down right there on the side of the road, and tried to put them on. Robert watched as her face fell. The boots were easily 4 sizes too big. She stood up and took a step. Her foot slid right out. "I'm sorry," she said, handing them back. "They're too big. But thank you. Thank you so much for trying." Robert felt helpless. "There's got to be something I can do." "You already did," Linda said. "You stopped. You tried to help. That's more than most people do." She started walking again, limping worse than before. Robert stood there watching her go, feeling like the most useless person on the planet. Then an idea hit him. "Wait," he called out. "Can I at least take a picture?" Linda turned around, confused. "A picture? Of what?" "Of you, walking like this. I want to post it online. Maybe someone in town has shoes they can donate. Maybe someone else can help." "I don't want charity," Linda said quickly. "It's not charity. It's community. That's what people do. They help each other out." Linda stood there, and Robert could see her pride warring with her desperation. Finally, she nodded. "Okay, but just a picture from behind." "I don't want my face in it." Robert took out his phone. His hands weren't as steady as they used to be, but he managed to snap a clear photo. Linda walking along the highway, bare feet on the pavement, broken shoes in her hand, the morning sun casting long shadows beside her. He looked at the photo. It told a story all by itself. Determination, struggle, the kind of quiet courage that didn't ask for recognition but deserved it anyway. "Got it," he said. "Where do you work?" "Just in case someone wants to help." "The Riverside office complex. But please, I don't want any trouble. I just need to keep my job. No trouble. I promise. You take care now." Linda nodded and continued walking. Robert watched until she disappeared around the bend in the road. Then he got back in his truck and sat there for a minute, staring at the photo on his phone. He wasn't much for social media. His daughter had set up a Facebook account for him years ago so he could see pictures of the grandkids. He posted maybe twice a year, usually just sharing other people's photos. But this felt important. This felt like something people needed to see. Robert opened Facebook and created a new post. He attached the photo and stared at the blank space where he needed to write something. He wasn't good with words. Never had been. Finally, he just typed what he felt. "This is what courage looks like. Saw this woman walking along Route 9 this morning. Barefoot, shoes broken, walking to work. Wouldn't accept a ride. Wouldn't accept help. She's heading to the Riverside office complex. If anyone has shoes to donate or wants to help, let me know. This is our town. We should take care of our own." He hit post and started driving toward Dot's Diner. But he couldn't stop thinking about that woman, about her bleeding feet, about the determination in her eyes, about whatever circumstances had brought her to this point. By the time Robert reached the diner, his phone was buzzing. He pulled into the parking lot and checked it. 14 notifications, then 20, then 35. His post was being shared. People were commenting. The folks in his small town were paying attention. Robert went inside, ordered his usual breakfast, and watched his phone light up over and over again. He didn't know if anything would come of it. Didn't know if posting that picture would make any difference at all. But at least he'd tried. At least he'd done something besides just drive past and forget about her like she was invisible. That woman wasn't invisible. Not anymore. By the time Robert finished his eggs and bacon, over 200 people had shared his post. The number kept climbing. Someone from the local news station had commented asking for more information. Robert sipped his coffee and smiled. Maybe, just maybe, he'd done something good today. Maybe this time the story wouldn't end with someone struggling alone. Maybe this time would be different. By 9 o'clock that morning, Robert's post had been shared over 1,000 times. Comments were pouring in faster than he could read them. Some people were angry that anyone would let this happen in their town. Others were offering help. Many were sharing their own stories of seeing this same woman walking, day after day, no matter the weather. One comment stood out. It was from a woman named Patricia Chen who lived on Oakwood Street. "I know this woman. She lives in my building with her 3 kids. Her name is Linda Mitchell. Her husband died in an accident last year. She's been walking to work for months because she can't afford a car. Sometimes I watch her children in the morning. She never complains. Never asks for anything. Just keeps going. This breaks my heart. Another comment came from Bill Henderson, and his words carried weight in the community. I'm her employer at Riverside Office Complex. Linda is one of the hardest workers I've ever had. She came in this morning 40 minutes late with her feet wrapped in paper towels and tape. She apologized for being late and got right to work. Didn't mention why, didn't ask for sympathy. Just started cleaning like always. I had no idea she'd been walking 7 miles every day. I feel terrible. The comments kept coming. A teacher from the local elementary school wrote that Bobby, Katie, and David were wonderful kids. Always polite, always clean, despite their obvious struggles. Their mother never missed a parent-teacher conference, even though she had to walk there too. Someone else mentioned seeing Linda at the food bank once a month. They said she always took the smallest portions and left more for other families. Said she always volunteered to help stock shelves even though she was there for assistance herself. The picture Robert had taken was being shared beyond their small town now. News stations were picking it up. A reporter named Jennifer Walsh from Channel 7 News commented asking for contact information. She wanted to do a story, but one comment thread caught Robert's attention more than the others. It started with a woman named Grace Rodriguez, who owned an auto repair shop on the east side of town. I remember this woman. Grace wrote, 2 years ago I was struggling to keep my shop open. I was in line at the grocery store and my card got declined. I started putting things back, trying not to cry in front of everyone. A couple behind me paid for my groceries. The man said they'd just gotten their tax refund and wanted to help someone. They gave me $200, told me to pay it forward someday. I never forgot their faces. The woman in this picture is the same woman who helped me that day. I'm absolutely certain. Her husband was with her then. I remember thinking they looked like they didn't have much themselves, but they helped me anyway. That money kept my lights on long enough for me to land a big contract. My shop is successful now because of them. We have to help her. We have to. Grace's comment got hundreds of replies. People were moved by the story. The idea that Linda had been helping others even when she had so little herself struck a chord with everyone who read it. Robert sat in Dot's diner, reading through everything, his breakfast getting cold. He felt like he'd started something bigger than he'd expected. His phone rang. It was his daughter calling from Oregon. Dad, your post is everywhere. It's on my Facebook feed. My friends are sharing it. What's going on? Robert explained everything. Told her about seeing Linda on the road, about the photo, about how the whole town seemed to be waking up to what had been happening right under their noses. I'm proud of you. Dad, his daughter said, and Robert felt his throat tighten. She didn't say that often. Meanwhile, across town, Jennifer Walsh from Channel 7 News was sitting in her office at the television station. She'd seen Robert's post shared by a friend and immediately recognized the location. Route 9 ran right past their building. The Riverside office complex was less than 2 miles away, but she recognized something else too. She recognized the woman. Jennifer got up and walked down to the first floor of their building. She found the janitorial closet and knocked. A moment later, a young guy named Tyler opened it. Hey Tyler, is Linda working today? Yeah, she's up on the 3rd floor. Why? I need to talk to her. Jennifer took the stairs to the 3rd floor. She found Linda in one of the conference rooms, wiping down the long table. Linda looked up when she entered, and Jennifer could see the exhaustion in her face. Linda, hi. I'm Jennifer Walsh. I work here for the news station. Linda's face went pale. Did I do something wrong? Mr. Henderson said I could make up the time I was late. No, nothing like that. Can we talk for a minute? Linda set down her cleaning supplies and sat in one of the conference room chairs. Jennifer sat across from her. I saw a post online this morning, a picture of a woman walking barefoot on Route 9. That was you, wasn't it? Linda closed her eyes. I didn't want anyone to see that. I didn't want people talking about me. I know. But Linda, people aren't talking about you in a bad way. They want to help. The whole town wants to help. I don't need charity. It's not charity when you've been giving to this community for years. Do you remember Grace Rodriguez, the auto shop owner? Linda thought for a moment. I remember someone at the grocery store a couple years back. Michael and I helped her out. But that was just being decent. Anyone would have done it. But not everyone would have done it when they were struggling themselves. Grace owns a successful business now because of that $200. She remembered you. She wants to help. Linda's eyes filled with tears. I just need to take care of my kids. That's all I want. I don't need people feeling sorry for me. They don't feel sorry for you. They respect you. There's a difference. Jennifer's phone buzzed. She looked at it and her eyes went wide. Linda, there's a GoFundMe page. Someone started it an hour ago. It's already raised $8,000. What? No, I can't accept that. Why not? You helped Grace when she needed it. You've been quietly helping this community for years. Let them help you back. Linda put her face in her hands. Jennifer could see her shoulders shaking. All the stress, all the exhaustion, all the fear she'd been carrying for 18 months was finally breaking through. I've been so scared, Linda whispered. Every single day I wake up scared. Scared I'll lose my job. Scared I won't make rent. Scared my kids will go hungry. Scared I'm failing them. You're not failing them. You walk 7 miles barefoot to keep your job. That's not failing. That's fighting. They sat in silence for a moment. Then Jennifer said something that changed everything. Grace Rodriguez wants to meet with you. She has an idea. She's been calling people all morning. Business owners, community leaders, people who want to help. They're organizing something. She wouldn't tell me what exactly, but she said it's big. Will you meet with her? Linda wiped her eyes. When? Tonight. After your shift. Linda thought about her kids, thought about Mrs. Chen watching them, thought about 18 months of barely surviving, thought about Michael and what he would tell her to do. Okay, she said finally. I'll meet with her. Jennifer smiled. Good. Because Linda, I think your life is about to change. The whole town is watching now. They know your story, and they're not going to let you walk alone anymore. Linda wanted to believe her. She wanted to hope that maybe, just maybe, things could get better. But hope was dangerous when you'd been disappointed so many times before. Still, as she went back to cleaning the conference room, she felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Not quite hope, not yet, but something close to it. Something that felt like maybe the world wasn't completely cold and uncaring after all. Maybe there were still good people out there. Maybe she wasn't as alone as she thought. Linda finished her shift at 3:30 that afternoon. Her feet were still throbbing, wrapped in clean bandages that Mr. Henderson had insisted she take from the first aid kit. He'd also told her to take the next 2 days off with pay. She'd tried to refuse, but he wouldn't hear it. Linda, he'd said, you've worked here for almost a year and never called in sick once, never asked for a single favor. Take the time. Your feet need to heal. We'll be fine. Now she sat on a bench outside the office complex waiting. Grace Rodriguez had texted her through Jennifer, saying she'd pick Linda up at 4 o'clock. Linda watched the cars go by, trying not to think about what might happen next, trying not to let herself hope too much. A blue pickup truck pulled into the parking lot at 3:55. A woman in her mid-40s got out, wearing coveralls with Rodriguez Auto Repair stitched on the pocket. She had kind eyes and a warm smile. Linda? Linda stood up, wincing slightly. Yes, Grace? That's me. Grace walked over and without hesitation pulled Linda into a hug. Linda stood there stiffly at first, not used to such warmth from strangers. Then something inside her softened and she hugged back. Thank you for meeting me, Grace said, pulling away. I've been thinking about you and your husband for 2 years. What you did for me that day at the grocery store, it saved my life. I mean that literally. I was ready to give up on everything. We were just trying to help. Anyone would have done the same. But most people don't, that's the thing. Most people walk right past. Grace gestured to her truck. Come on, I want to show you something. They drove across town making small talk. Grace asked about Linda's kids, about how she was managing. Linda gave the answers she always gave. They were fine. She was managing. Everything was okay. The lies came easy after so much practice. Grace pulled up to her auto repair shop. It was bigger than Linda expected. 3 garage bays, all full of cars being worked on, a proper waiting room with clean chairs and a coffee maker, a sign out front that said, Rodriguez Auto Repair, honest work, fair prices. This is all because of that $200? Linda asked. That money bought me 1 more month of keeping the lights on. During that month, I landed a contract with the county to maintain their fleet vehicles. That contract let me hire 2 mechanics. Those mechanics helped me take on more work. More work meant I could expand. It all started with you and your husband giving me a chance to survive 1 more month. They went inside. Grace's office was small but neat. Photos on the wall showed her with various clients, her employees, her family. She gestured for Linda to sit. "I'm going to be direct with you because I think you appreciate honesty," Grace said. "The GoFundMe page is up to $42,000. People keep donating. But here's the thing. I don't think you want $42,000 handed to you. I think you want something more meaningful than that." Linda felt her chest tighten. "I don't understand." "I've been making phone calls all day. I called Robert Hayes, the man who took your picture. I called business owners I know. I called the bank manager. I called your landlord. I even called the hospital that's been sending you medical bills from your husband's accident. Why would you do that? Because I wanted to understand your situation completely before I offered to help. And here's what I learned. You owe $18,000 in medical debt. You're 3 months behind on rent, which is another $1,300. Your car broke down 8 months ago and you couldn't afford to fix it. You work 40 hours a week, but after rent and bills, you barely have money for food. Your kids need winter coats. Bobby needs glasses. The twins need dental work. You're drowning, Linda. And you've been drowning quietly for 18 months, not asking anyone for help." Linda felt exposed, all her private struggles laid out like items on a shelf. "I don't want people knowing my business. Too late for that. The whole town knows now. But here's what else I learned. You volunteer at the food bank. You help Mrs. Chen with her grocery shopping even though you can barely afford your own. You donated your late husband's tools to the community workshop so other people could use them. You're always the first person to help others and the last person to ask for help yourself. That's just being a decent person. No, Linda. That's being an exceptional person, and exceptional people deserve exceptional things in return." Grace pulled out a folder from her desk drawer. "I've spent today putting together a plan. Not just a handout. A real plan to change your life. But I need you to listen with an open mind." Linda nodded slowly. "First, the medical debt. I talked to the hospital billing department. With the money from the GoFundMe, we can pay it off completely. All $18,000 gone. You'll never get another threatening letter again." Linda's eyes widened. "That's too much. People donated that money. I can't just let me finish. Second, your landlord. His name is Frank Morrison. Turns out he had no idea about your situation. When I told him, he felt terrible. He's agreed to forgive the back rent and give you a break on next month's rent too. He said any woman who walks 7 miles barefoot to work deserves a landlord who shows some compassion." Linda couldn't speak. Her throat had closed up completely. "Third, and this is the big one, I need a good mechanic in my shop. But more than that, I need someone who can run the front desk. Someone organized, responsible, someone people can trust. The job pays $16 an hour. Full benefits, health insurance included. It's 9 to 4, Monday through Friday. You'd be home when your kids get out of school. I've already talked to Mr. Henderson. He says you're the most reliable employee he's ever had and he'd be happy to give you a glowing reference." "Grace, I don't know anything about auto repair. You don't need to. You'd be handling appointments, managing the books, dealing with customers. I'd train you on everything else. The point is, it's a better job with better pay and better hours. You could actually have a life again." Linda's hands were shaking. "Why are you doing this?" "Because 2 years ago you saved me when I was drowning. Now it's my turn. But there's more." "More?" Grace opened another folder. "I have a friend who deals in used cars. Good, reliable vehicles. He owes me some favors. I called him today and told him about you. He's got a Honda Civic, year 2008, runs perfectly. He's willing to sell it to you for $2,000, which is way below market value. I'll cover the first year of insurance and maintenance. We'll use some of the GoFundMe money for the car and the rest we'll put in a savings account for your kid's future." Linda was crying now, full heavy tears that she couldn't stop. "I can't accept all this. It's too much. It's not too much. It's what you deserve. It's what your husband would have wanted for you and your kids. And Linda, it's what this community wants to give you because you've already given so much to them." Grace pulled out one more piece of paper. "There's something else. Something I haven't told you yet. What else could there possibly be? Tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. there's going to be a gathering outside your apartment. Robert Hayes organized it. He's been calling people all day. Business owners, neighbors, teachers, people you've helped over the years. They want to meet you. They want to show you that you're not alone in this. Jennifer Walsh from Channel 7 wants to cover it. This whole thing has become bigger than any of us expected." Linda wiped her eyes. "I don't want to be on the news. I don't want people staring at me. They're not going to stare at you like you're a charity case. They're going to look at you like you're a hero, because that's what you are. You're a woman who kept fighting even when everything fell apart. You're a mother who walked 7 miles barefoot because giving up wasn't an option. People need to see that. Kids need to see that. The world needs more stories like yours. Linda sat there, trying to process everything. 18 months of struggle, of fear, of barely surviving. And now in one single day, everything was changing. It didn't feel real. It felt like a dream she'd wake up from any minute. What do I have to do? She asked quietly. Just show up tomorrow morning. Let people help you. Let them give back what you've been giving all along. Can you do that? Linda thought about Bobby, Katie, and David. Thought about being able to afford winter coats and glasses and dental work. Thought about having health insurance and a reliable car. Thought about not being terrified every single day. Yes, she whispered. I can do that, Grace smiled. Good. Because tomorrow, Linda Mitchell, your whole life changes. Linda barely slept that night. She kept thinking Grace would call and say it was all a mistake. That the job offer wasn't real. That the money had disappeared. That she'd wake up and still be drowning in debt and fear. At 5:15 in the morning, she gave up on sleep entirely. She got up, made coffee with the last of the grounds, and sat at her tiny kitchen table in the dark. Her feet still hurt, but the bandages had helped. She could walk without limping now. Bobby wandered out of the bedroom at 5:30, rubbing his eyes. Mom, why are you up so early? Just thinking, baby. About what? How could she explain? How could she tell her 7-year-old son that their lives might be about to change? That people they didn't know were gathering outside their building because a stranger had taken a picture of her walking barefoot? About good people, she said finally. About how sometimes when things are really hard, good people show up to help. Bobby climbed into her lap even though he was getting too big for it. Like when Dad used to help people fix their cars. Linda's heart squeezed. Yeah, just like that. By 5:45, she heard voices outside. Car doors closing. People talking in low tones. She looked out her window and her breath caught in her throat. There were cars everywhere, lining both sides of the street, filling the apartment complex parking lot. Dozens of them. Maybe more. People were getting out, holding coffee cups, talking to each other in the early morning darkness. Mom. Bobby was looking out the window too now. Why are all those people here? Katie and David had woken up from the noise and came out to look. The 3 children pressed their faces to the window, watching the growing crowd below. I think they're here for us, Linda whispered. At 6 o'clock exactly, there was a knock on her door. Linda opened it to find Grace standing there with Robert Hayes beside her, and Jennifer Walsh with a camera crew behind them. Ready? Grace asked gently. Linda looked back at her children, then down at her feet. She was wearing Michael's old work boots again, stuffed with newspaper. The only shoes she had that still worked. I look ridiculous, she said. You look perfect, Robert said. You look like someone who doesn't give up. Come on. There are people waiting to meet you. They walked down the stairs together, Linda holding Bobby's hand, the twins following close behind. When they stepped outside, the crowd went quiet. Then someone started clapping. Then another person. Then another. Within seconds, the entire crowd was applauding. Linda stood there, frozen, not understanding. These people were clapping for her. Why? Grace took her hand and led her forward. The crowd parted, creating a path. At the end of that path sat a blue Honda Civic with a big red bow on the hood. That's yours, Grace said. Paid in full. Title in your name. Insurance covered for a year. Linda couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. Bobby squeezed her hand. Mom, is that our car? Robert stepped forward, holding a folder. Linda, I'm just a retired guy who likes his coffee and his routine. But yesterday, seeing you on that road, it reminded me why I served in the Army. To protect people like you. People who fight every day just to survive. People who deserve better than what they've been given. This whole town felt the same way. He opened the folder. The medical debt is paid, all of it. The hospital confirmed it this morning. You're free and clear. A woman Linda recognized from the food bank stepped forward. I'm Helen Park. I run the community center. We've collected clothes for your kids. Winter coats, school supplies, shoes. Everything they need. A man in a suit came next. I'm Frank Morrison, your landlord. I'm sorry I didn't know what you were going through. The back rent is forgiven, and I'm lowering your monthly rent by $200. That building has been in my family for 30 years. My father taught me that good tenants are worth more than money. Mr. Henderson from Linda's work was there too. Linda, you've been the best employee I could ask for. If you're taking the job at Grace's shop, you have my blessing and my highest recommendation. But the whole cleaning crew wanted me to give you this." He handed her an envelope. Everyone chipped in. It's not much, but it's from the heart. Teacher after teacher came forward. They talked about Bobby, Katie, and David. About how well-behaved they were, how hard they worked, how much potential they had. One teacher had tears in her eyes. These kids never complained, not once. They never talked about being hungry or struggling. They just came to school every day ready to learn. That's because of you, Linda. You raised them right. Patricia Chen, her neighbor, was there with her arms full of groceries for your kitchen. So you don't have to worry about food for a while. The owner of the shoe store downtown stepped forward with 3 boxes. "I heard Bobby needs glasses. These are for him." And shoes for all 3 kids. Proper shoes that fit. One by one, people came forward. People Linda had helped without knowing their names. People she'd smiled at in passing. People she'd never met but who lived in the same town and wanted to do something good. The GoFundMe page had reached $53,000. After paying the medical bills and buying the car, there was still $33,000 left. Grace explained that it would go into a savings account for the children's future. College, emergencies, whatever they needed. Jennifer Walsh stepped forward with her microphone. "Linda, can I ask you a question for the news?" Linda nodded, not trusting her voice. "What does this moment mean to you?" Linda looked at the crowd. At Robert, who had stopped to help her. At Grace, who had never forgotten a kindness. At all these people who had shown up before sunrise to support someone they barely knew. "I've spent 18 months feeling invisible," Linda said quietly.
Feeling like I was fighting alone.
Like nobody saw me or cared. I was wrong. People see, people care. And sometimes when you're at your lowest point, when you think you can't take another step, that's exactly when the world reminds you that you're not alone. She looked down at her children. "I want my kids to see this. I want them to remember that when you help people, even in small ways, it comes back. Maybe not right away, maybe not for years, but kindness matters. It always matters." Bobby was crying. The twins were holding onto her legs. Linda bent down and hugged all 3 of them. Grace handed her the car keys. "The job starts Monday if you want it. 9 to 4. Benefits kick in after 30 days. You'll never have to walk 7 miles again unless you choose to." Linda held the keys in her hand. They felt heavy with possibility, heavy with hope. "There's one more thing," Robert said. He gestured to the crowd. "Everyone here wanted to make sure you knew something. You're not a charity case. You're not someone to feel sorry for. You're someone who inspired an entire community. You reminded us what strength looks like, what dignity looks like, what a real parent does for their kids. We're not helping you because you're weak. We're helping you because you're strong. And even strong people need support sometimes." The sun was rising now, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold. The same sun that had risen on Linda walking barefoot along Route 9 just yesterday morning. But everything was different now. She had a car. She had a better job. She had her debts paid. She had a community that saw her, really saw her, and decided she mattered. Linda looked at Grace. "I don't know how to thank you."
"Any of you. You already thanked us," Grace said.
2 years ago, when you helped me in that grocery store, when you gave me hope that there were still good people in the world. Now we're just returning the favor, and someday when you see someone else struggling, you'll help them too. That's how it works. That's how we take care of each other." Linda nodded. She understood now. This wasn't the end of her story. It was a new beginning, and someday she'd be the one showing up at 6 in the morning to help someone else. She'd be the one reminding another struggling parent that they weren't alone. Bobby tugged on her hand. "Can we go see the car, Mom?" "Yeah," Linda said, wiping her eyes and smiling. "Let's go see our car." As they walked toward the Honda Civic, the crowd followed, everyone talking and laughing and celebrating together. Strangers becoming neighbors, neighbors becoming friends, a community becoming exactly what a community should be. And Linda Mitchell, the woman who had walked 7 miles barefoot because giving up wasn't an option, learned that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is let people help you. Sometimes accepting kindness takes just as much courage as giving it. And sometimes, when you think you're walking alone, you're actually surrounded by people who are just waiting for the chance to walk beside you.